So the big election in Illinois is April 1st. It's suburban, county, and local elections in Illinois. And then probably later, I believe in June and in August, we'll have elections in other states also. So these elections, April 1st in Illinois, are the general elections. We just technically had the primary elections, which were on February 25th. Um, that was kind of just limited to only a few places like Berwyn and the town of Cicero, where I do some work. Larry Dominick in the town of Cicero easily won re-election. He's serving his 20th year, which is amazing. He's done so much in the town of Cicero. The people there are lucky to have him. And the vote turnout was pretty much similar to what it was the last time he had a contested election, which was in 2013. He got about the same percentage, it was slightly under, but that's mainly because over the last 12 years, Cicero has seen a drop in the total number of people who have been voting, down about 1,900 votes difference from 2013 until this past election. So the percentages was slightly down, but his opposition always has one core base and it never changes. And he did a great job, though, of showing people who live in Cicero all the great things he does. So I love Larry Dominick. He's a phenomenal guy, and I love working for him, doing his meeting. I only work for people that I really care about, and that I trust and that I believe are honest. And Larry Dominick is probably the best thing that ever happened to the town of Cicero. Now, I live in Orland Park in the southwest suburbs, and there's a big race there between Keith Pekow, who just, what a disaster this guy has been. He's being challenged by a former trustee, Jim Dodge. And that election is getting a lot of attention. There aren't a lot of big elections in Cook County. There are a few, but nothing major. And ironically, they're all mainly around Orland Park. The Orland Township election, where the township is split between Dick Kelly and Paul O'Grady. They each have two slates. I think Dick Kelly's slate is going to do very, very well. Paul O'Grady's been there, I think, about 2 terms. He's one of these guys that goes back and forth. Nice guy. But, it's just, I don't know, there's not a lot of consistency in his political allegiances. So I've been his friend. I've been wondering about him, and I'm not sure I'm ever going to get a good answer for what's going to happen. But I think Dick Kelly and his slate is going to do very, very well. The other race is the Orland Fire Protection District, where I do some media. I do basically the press releases to promote the great things that the fire district firefighters do there in the Orland Fire Protection District, which includes Orland Hills and Orland Park and some unincorporated areas. That fire district has a 71% cardiac attack save rate. And that is significant. 71% cardiac attack save rate is significant because the national save rate is only 10 to 15%. So if you live in the Orland Fire Protection District, you have a 5 times greater chance of survival if you have a heart attack than you will any other place in the Midwest. And I would say maybe even in the United States, but for sure in the Midwest. The Orland Fire Protection District also has the highest ISO 1 rating. And ISO, just essentially, you don't need to understand all the terms, but ISO refers to a fire district's efficiency, performance, their equipment, their training. How good are the firefighters? And in the fire district, they're the best firefighters and paramedics. And that ISO 1 means that when homeowners in the district pay their insurance premiums for their homes and their businesses, it's going to be the lowest possible cost of any insurance costs around the country, because the higher that ISO, which number 1 is high and 5 is low, the lower the insurance rates. The lower it is means that more needs to be done to train. You need better equipment. The save rate isn't that great, and putting out fires are a struggle. So if you're at a lower rating, like an ISO 2 or 3, that means your insurance premium rates are going to go really hard, are going to go really high. So the fire district is probably the it's like the gold at the end of the rainbow for politicians. Every politician wants to control the Orland Fire Protection District, which is technically an independent government agency and its own taxing body. So they're subject, of course, to the taxes set by Fritz Kagi, who is the Cook County assessor, who, as we all know, he's the one who pretty much jacked up everybody's property taxes and has been trying like crazy to convince people that it's not him, but it is him. Fritz Kagi, the Cook County assessor, shifted the burden in assessments from businesses to homeowners. He did that over the past 2 years. And he did it because his biggest contributions come from businesses and who have more money, of course. And, every politician like him, all they want to do is stay in office. They don't care about the job they do or the performance. They just want to stay in office so they raise as much money, and they're not getting money from taxpayers. It's all coming from these big business and corporate sponsors and people who got a big break. Now, when he shifts the burden of assessments from business to homeowners, what that means is homes increases the value. The assessment artificially increases your home. Fritz Kagi basically said your home is worth 50% more than what it really is. And what that does is it translates into a calculation that increases your property tax, because if your home is worth 50% more based on the assessment than it really is, your property taxes are going to go up 50%. And if you're a business and your assessment goes down, your property taxes are going to go down. And his big corporate and business buddies are so happy that he's saving them hundreds of millions of dollars each year. But that's being offset by homeowners who have to pay more in property taxes. So everybody is seeing their property taxes go up, not because of local governments mismanaging or assessing unreasonable tax increases, but because Fritz Kagi, the assessor in Cook County, is probably the worst thing to ever happen to taxpayers in the 50 years that I've been covering politics. This guy's the absolute worst. And I think everybody needs to understand that. So when you see your tax bill and you say, oh, wow, the fire district went up, the village went up. In most cases, it's because of Kagi. Now, in the case of the village, property taxes have gone up and the services have dropped, but the amount of money they're spending is increasing. And the reason for that is an extraordinarily high sales tax in Orland Park because of the mayor there, Keith Pekow. Also, he's been doing a lot of borrowing and manipulation of TIFs, the existing TIF, and he wants to create 3 more TIFs. And it's a financial mess there. And the reason we know it's a financial mess is because Pekow failed to file his annual financial audits, which are mandated and required by the state for every government. I don't know, they're like thousands of places, 29 or 30,000 governments that file audits, and I think like 22 didn't. And Orland Park is one of the ones that did not for the years 2022 and 2023. And we're always a year behind because who knows whether he's going to file an annual audit for 2024. So when I wrote the story exposing Pekow's failure to file the financial audits for 2022 and 2024, the state of Illinois jumped on it and finally announced that, yes, in fact, it's true. And then it got picked up by WGN, Fox News, and a couple other media. And I appreciate because they gave me credit for breaking that story. So Pekow was forced to rush through a financial audit for 2022. We don't know whether he's going to do anything for 2023, but the financial audits show massive debt in Orland Park. And that's the big problem with Mayor Pekow. He's not transparent. He lies a lot. When you question him, like when I do, he attacks you personally. Last year at the State of the Union that he did at the Orland Chamber of Commerce, he spent 30 minutes attacking me, saying that I'm the problem. I'm a writer. I write a political column. I question him. I point out how he misspends money like a million, 1.2 million a year on lawyers, the in-house lawyer, and probably 400,000 of that on outside lawyers to fight people like the police department. He hates the police department. He's filed suits against two of their former, just phenomenal police leaders, and he's upset with that. So he made me the issue. But what actually happened, and I appreciate it though, thanks, Mayor Picow, you moron. By attacking me, all you did was put a spotlight on what I was doing. So him and his little group of cronies, his brain trust, which between them, they have only probably half a brain. They decided, oh, stop talking about Ray Hanania, because if we talk about Ray Hanania, we're just going to give him spotlight. And the people that listen to what we talk about go and check it out. And probably 40 to 50% of the people who he thinks are his followers, who he tells them to come to listen to my YouTube podcast or read my columns at hanania.com, will be enlightened. They'll read what I write. And listen, I may be tough on people like Picow, who's the worst mayor I've ever run into. And you know, I've covered Chicago politics forever. I've been attacked by Jane M. Byrne. I've been attacked by Richard M. Daley. I've been attacked by Eugene Sawyer. Oh, he wasn't too bad. I've been attacked by Harold Washington. I've been attacked by the best. Picow is the worst mayor. And when he attacks me, it's kind of a badge of courage. I really appreciate it. So what he's done over the last 6 months is he stopped talking about me because he knows that he's like an advertisement for me, and he's been getting me a lot of readers. But the fire district, Picow wants to control the fire district. The reason he wants to control the fire district is the fire district is fully funded. There are very few governments that their pensions are fully funded. The fire district's pension is fully funded. It's like a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And that's an appropriate little thing to talk about today because we're coming up to St. Patrick's Day pretty soon. But he wants that money. He desperately needs the money. He's fighting for his life in Orland Park. And I believe Picow's going to lose on April 1. He should have lost 4 years ago to former Mayor Dan McLaughlin, who started all this by thinking that he can give himself a raise and a pension hike without explaining it to the people of Orland Park. It was either last minute, it was stupid, he didn't do it the right way. But the truth was, McLaughlin was always a good mayor. He did great things for Orland Park. And even when he and I would battle, it was a respectful fight because it resulted in information. It's checks and balances between columnists and elected officials that Dan McLaughlin respected. He was a great mayor. But when he ran 4 years ago to reclaim his office against Keith Picow, the bully, McLaughlin was pushed by the unions, who told him that he can only work with Democrats. So the disgruntled Republicans, and Picow is one of the most extreme Republicans in Illinois, he split the Republican Party. So Dodge, who is a former mainstream centrist Republican, a moderate, smart Republican, is appealing to the Democrats and the Republicans because in the end, local elections for village are nonpartisan. That means that you don't really run in a political party. But Picow, running as a nonpartisan candidate for mayor, is trying to sell that Republicanism because he thinks that it's going to bring him votes. Actually, he's going to lose big time. The Democrats won't vote for him. The independents won't vote for him. And half the Republicans are not going to vote for him. And in this election, hopefully, he and his 3 trustees will be booted out. There'll be 3 trustees left that they'll kick out 2 years from now, who are horrible people, by the way, just mean and bullies. When I say bully, I don't say that lightly. Picow and his cronies are bullies. So he needs that fire district, and he's run a slate of 3 candidates who he wants to put on the fire district. And, there's couple other people that have donated money to another group of fire candidates for the fire district. But those are not the ones that you should support. There are actually three slates. The one that I'm supporting is an independent slate of fire candidates, and they consist of the current trustee on the Orland Fire Protection District, Beth Damas Casper. She's a current trustee, and Donald DJ Jeffers, who is a commissioner with the Orland Fire Protection District, and Bridget Toland, who is a new face for Orland, but she has been a longtime former Palos Heights Police Department community service officer, and she's worked with them for years. They're the only three that have any experience in being first responders working for the fire district or police departments. The other six candidates on the two slates, political puppets being pushed by one supervisor from Orland, a mayor from Orland, and they've got a lot of funding from mayors from outside of Orland Park and neighboring areas who want to merge. They want to merge the fire district with their fire departments, part-time fire departments, unfunded fire departments. The Orland Fire Protection District is the jewel in the crown of fighting fires. Nobody fights fires better than the firefighters in the Orland Fire Protection District. They're the best trained. They're the best driven. They're the most efficient. Their equipment is top notch, and they respond quickly. They put out fires better than almost anybody. And on top of it, they save lives. Do not brush off that 71% cardiac arrest save rate, because that 71% is what keeps people alive in the Orland Fire Protection District and is a difference between life and death in other areas where the save rate for cardiac arrest is only 10 to 15%. So I'm asking you, as somebody obviously who works, I do some media, it's not a lot of money, far less than what Pecow's media people spend. I think I'm $4,000 a month to write the press releases and give advice to the fire chief and the board president. That's compared to about $15,000 to $20,000 a month in Orland Park, not including the cost of all those mailers he puts out. You know, the booklets, the newsletters, the mailers, and even the township does the same thing. They spend all that money. They spend a fortune. They don't want you to know how much they're spending, so they're not as transparent. I'm transparent. I'm being honest with you. I want you to know what I'm doing, who I work for, because I only work for the people who are good. And I'm asking you to vote for the people who are good. And I'll tell you what, you can go to a website called fiscalvoicesfororlandfire.com. And you can get all the information on those firefighters who are running, those candidates for the fire district who are running. They're great people. Donald DJ Jeffers, trustee Beth Damas Casper, and Bridget Toland. Those three candidates, Jeffers, Casper, and Toland, are high quality leaders who are going to protect the Orland Fire Protection District and keep the politicians who are drooling to control the money that the fire district has built up and that funds their exemplary performance. They're keeping them away. They'll be the ones that will stop a merger or consolidation, because the more you hear these other politicians say, oh, no, we're not going to merge, we don't want to consolidate, the more they say that. Why? Because they want to do it. And they just want to get through the election on April 1st. So on April 1st, I'm asking you, vote the right way for the Orland Fire Protection District, for Donald DJ Jeffers, Beth Damas Casper, and Bridget Toland. And also vote the right way in the village of Orland Park for Jim Dodge and his slate. Those are the best ways to protect Orland Park, which is the biggest city between Chicago and Joliet. And it can't be taken for granted. So if you're smart and you care about Orland Park, you're going to do the right thing. I'm Ray Hanania. You can go to my website at hanania.com to get information on all of this. I'm transparent. I don't lie. maybe I make mistakes sometimes. Maybe my judgment isn't that great. I'm not going to say it isn't. It's my opinion. But my opinion is based on 45 to 50 years of covering Chicago politics, Chicagoland politics, and suburban politics with the Southtown Economist, which became the Daily Southtown when I was there, and the Chicago Sun-Times, where I worked for 8 to 9 years. And then I worked for newspapers like Newsday in New York, the Houston Chronicle, the Orlando Sentinel. I used to write a weekly column for them all the time. Creators Syndicate, I syndicated a column there. Now I do it all myself at Hanania.com. I hope you'll join me there. And you email me anytime. My email's there at rghanania@gmail.com. Find me at RG Hanania on Facebook. Find me at Ray Hanania on Twitter. You look me up. I'm not hard to find. If you have a question, I definitely want to answer whatever you need. Thank you so much for watching. All the people that are slowly building up my YouTube channel and my podcast, Ray Hanania on Politics. You have a great week. We'll talk to you later.